Hi everyone. God-fearing. It's an unusual saying. I'm sure a lot of people have heard it from various religious people. I sort of equate it to the term cotton picking. If you're about to start a fight or something, someone might say, "Why you cotton picking?" and launch into a fight. They're both terms that I'm sure a lot of people have heard in movies and TV shows and maybe in real life. And you probably don't think much of them. They're just things that people say. You don't pay them any notice, but you actually think of the term and you actually try to scrutinize them, and you realize that that they're not exactly good things to say. I mean, cotton picking, as I'm sure a lot of you could probably figure out, is supposed to be an insult, and it's talking about the black slaves that Americans used to have back 150 years ago that used to pick cotton in the fields down south or whatever. And God fearing is you can sort of strip away and find out that that's not right either. I mean, you hear a lot from religious people that say they're God fearing patriotic Americans or something, just as an example. But why are you afraid of God? Why would you even need to be? And the most annoying part about it is that they say it almost as if they're proud of being God fearing, like it's a badge of honor or something, like being afraid of God is justified. Which I suppose is right, really. I mean, you read the Bible and God is responsible for a lots of things that most of us would find a wee bit naughty, like killing and genocide and whatnot. I mean, I discussed that more in a video that I did entitled Death in the Bible. I'll link to it in the sidebar. And go and watch it because it's actually one of the better videos I've done on this channel. If I worshipped that God, I know I would be afraid of him. You'd never know if God just would one day just decide that he's angry or bored with his creation and just decide to start again, and there would be nothing you could do about it. And God seems mentally unstable, to say the least. I don't know about you, but this sort of living in constant fear would kind of put a damper on my existence. Why should you fear an all loving being? It doesn't make sense. But then again, we are talking about religion here. Logic is not exactly religion's greatest ally. If you ask these people, why they say it, I mean, they may say that they're afraid of hell, but then in the very next sentence they would say that God loves us. Well, evidently not enough to stop us from going to hell for not believing in him, which, is in the Bible. I'm sorry, but you just cannot have an all-loving God who's been, who has constructed an eternal punishment for the creation that he supposedly cared for, or does care for still. There are people, I don't like. I mean, God, I people that I've had run-ins with, people, just people that I just do not like. I'm not kind of the person to hold grudges, but there's still people that I have an intense disliking for. But even if I had the choice, I wouldn't want them to suffer for all eternity. I mean, what person would? And this is just me. I'm just a flawed sinner, as they would say. And I'm not like supposed to be the eternal, arbiter of peace. Of almighty justice and whatnot. I mean, I'm just human, and even I wouldn't do that. God is supposed to love everyone. How can these people reconcile these polar opposites? It doesn't make sense to me. But I was thinking maybe some people need to be afraid of God. They need to feel that they are under someone's cosmic boot heel, as it were. That there seems to be a lot of people suffering from inferiority complexes in religion. It is almost like an intergalactic version or a universal version of Big Brother. God is just the ultimate peeping Tom. I wouldn't want to have someone watching me go about my day-to-day life, watching me 24/7. It's freaky. People do need alone time. They need time to do their own thing and not to feel like they're constantly being watched. And it's no surprise then that a lot of these extreme fundamentalists in any sort of religion, especially the sort of the right-wing Christians, they also subscribe to a lot of conspiracy theories. I mean, it seems like there's a deep undercurrent of paranoia running through them, and it's no surprise really. I mean, if they feel like that someone is watching over them 24/7, then you are going to become over the years rather paranoid. And this also ties in with morality as well. I mean, do these people have to think that being watched 24/7, they need someone, or they need to know that someone's watching them 24/7 to avoid doing something that they would consider a sin? Do they not even understand what morality is? It's not a moral thing if you don't do something bad. if you think someone is watching you. It's when you know that no one's watching you. You know that you won't get caught. Is when it becomes a moral issue. That is what morals are. I sort of it's almost like a woman who stays with an abusive husband. She's afraid of him. She's not given her much reason to think that he loves her. She knows that she should leave him, but she just can't bring herself to for a variety for whatever reasons. He says that he loves her, and she believes this. It's rather sad, really. I think there are still some religious people that never really grew up. They are still somewhat in their child stage of life. There are a lot of people who were brought up religious and sort of outgrew it once they reached their teenage years. But and then they started thinking for themselves, and maybe they didn't become atheists, but they probably didn't are as religious as they used to be when they were a kid. But not these guys. No. Once they grew up and left their house and moved into their own place, they still had a deep-seated need for a parent figure, really, to tell them what to do, and that figure is God. God is their parent, guiding them through life, holding their hand, who's they think is always there for them, that loves them, thinks they're very special, and so if they perceive that someone is insulting their God or something by saying he doesn't exist, then they take that as a deeply personal insult, because to them it's as if someone is just insulted their parents, and I know it's completely crazy, but try and tell these people that. I mean, these people do not need God; they need therapy. I mean, that's just my opinion. Anyway, that's all I got to say. I hope that everyone's doing well. If you've got something interesting to say, then comment. Even if you don't have anything interesting to say, comment. It's always nice to get comments. Comments are good. Yay! So, cheerio.